This is the Transparency Podcast Show.
When I was in college. So I love the unique system that it has. So it was extremely frustrating to get there and seeing the number of people who were there opposing this bill for the day that they had the hearings. And they basically allocated 3 hours for proponents and 3 hours for opponents.
Wow. So I know you document the entire part of the journey. So we're going to play some for our audience to see.
Yeah, as you could see, the crowd got bigger and bigger throughout the day. And for some reason, the scout decided she wanted to punch one of the state patrol officers. And there was another man that was getting arrested, who I believe they said was drunk or disorderly and wouldn't leave. And so it got kind of heated. And there were people who were supporting the bill who were walking around with firearms because Nebraska allows open carry of firearms in the state capitol. And then this is Senator Kavanaugh and Senator Hunt and Senator Day, Senator Blood, all these people who I ended up getting to know, Senator Frederickson. These were the people who led the fight against this horrible bill. And this was right after...
All right.
This is after they ended up losing.
As I have a question, because when I see those clips, there's a lot of kids, like young adults or teenager. Are they all? I don't think they're all trans people. Huh?
No, they're not all trans. They're gender non-conforming, part of the LGBTQ community, or they're just strictly allies. There were people from a lot of different walks, but there were a lot of trans kids who were there. In fact, trans kids testified against this bill, including the daughter, who is now her son, of one of the state senators, Megan Hunt. Her son, Ash, testified against this bill, but yet they still voted to deny him health care.
Yeah, because it's kind of, to me, it's kind of contradictory if they want to protect the kids or the children, but then you see the violence. I think that girl, she looks pretty young, so I don't think this is like protection or any sort of,
Well, it's part of a national strategy that's been put together by groups like the Alliance Defending Freedom, the Family Research Council, and Focus on the Family, and other groups like that are funding this. And they have put out a narrative that trans youth healthcare is mutilization and sterilization. That is their catchphrase, and they're talking about it. They don't see the joy when somebody has a trans-related surgery and how that makes them feel complete. They call it mutilation. And it's horrible because this is not mutilation. And they say that puberty blockers are not reversible, which most cases they are. They talk about, what if they regret the decision? Which is the same thing that they say about women who want to have their tubes tied or their tubes removed. Well, what if you change your mind? It's like, no, I know who I am. I know what I want. And these trans kids know who they are and know what they want. I've talked to so many trans kids, and I've talked to parents, and there's all this perception and misinformation that these are liberal parents who are trying to trans their kids because they want to be some social status for having a trans child. And it's so far from the truth. Almost all the parents that I talked to struggled with the fact that their kid is trans, wondering what it is that they do, seeking help from sources, and learning that the way to help them the best is to affirm them. And for these state senators to want to use the power of government to dictate to these families who are struggling what they can and can't do is just outrageous. It is totally outrageous.
Yeah, because looking at that, the scene has a violent. When I look at it earlier, it made me feel really sad because as an immigrant, my parents want to come here for bigger opportunity for us to have a better education, and our country right now is not even close to that, and it's heartbreaking to seeing those kind of things happen. And
it truly is the division that exists in this country. I mean, I was a Republican. And I guess I have been a registered Republican my whole life, and I was involved in politics from a very young age. And so, I've seen it up close and personal. Now, the last 30 years, I was not involved in politics much because I had my job raising kids, and I didn't get involved in that. I mean, for a large part of the time, I was married to a woman who was from the other party, and so it was like we kind of just canceled each other out. But I don't recognize the Republicans that are out there today. I don't recognize the vitriol and the hatred that they're spewing. They seem to think that because they have these Christian views, that everyone should be forced to live under that. And that's not, number one, the Christianity that I know, and that's not the Republicans that I know.
Yeah, because as I post the show on the social media platform, I often get comments like, "Oh, I hope you find Jesus." "Oh, I hope you something like that." And then I do respond in a friendly way. I say, "Well, if you really believe in Jesus, I'm not a Christian, but if you believe in Jesus, then he's telling you to love everyone, right?"
That's what the message of God is supposed to be. Yeah, love everyone.
So everyone, including everyone, not like straight, gay, or trans or non-trans.
Except with some Christian extremists, they have to love you so much that they want to destroy you, and I don't understand that. It's like my stepmom still refuses to accept me. She doesn't accept my lifestyle choice, and it's like, this is not a lifestyle choice.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my identity. This is who I am.
Right.
I am me 24/7, 365 days a year. And no, it's not a fad or a phase I'm going through. It's been 8 years. No, I am not going to be anybody different than who I am.
Yeah. Besides, because you're 8 years, I'm 11 or so years, but we both know we've been feeling that way for decades.
I knew way before that, and it was the religious beliefs that I was raised and had that led me to believe that it was a sin, not knowing that, God is a beautiful, loving person, and making me transgender was like a gift that God gave me. And I look at it as I spent a large part of my life denying who I was, for thinking it was for God. And when I finally did embrace myself, life became so much incredibly better. I mean, it was like I was incredibly blessed. And I always, say to Christians, it's like the verse, God, I formed you in the womb. I knew you before you were born. And yes, thank you. And you made me this way. And I actually think it's a beautiful thing. And I've gotten to see life from from different perspectives, and it gives me so much to be able to give back, because I've seen things in so many different ways.
Yes. So also, we're gonna have another clip that you were interviewed by the local news broadcast.
They're violating legislative norms in all these states to get these bills passed because, for whatever reason, they think this is a winning election issue. Well, it's not, because people are beginning to react, and they're seeing that we are humans, that we deserve humanity, that we deserve medical care, and we don't deserve what happened in this building here today.
Okay, so did they interview any people in the core, or just?
Oh no, it was actually kind of strange, because I had been in the rotunda for a few minutes while everyone was hugging the senators, and I decided to go out to the north steps to the Capitol, because we were going to have a rally there, and there was not a whole lot of people there at the time, and I was talking with the head of social media for the ACLU Nebraska, and one of the reporters came up for the local news station, and they just asked him if he wanted to make a comment about what happened. He said no. He asked another one of the ACLU staffers if they wanted to do it, and she said no. And he goes, Jesse, do you want to? I'm like, sure, why not? And so that's how I ended up on the news with that one. It was, I just happened to be standing there.
Yeah, it's well, we need somebody in our community to be interview and have a different kind of voice, so that's good for you. And so next thing we want to talk about is healthcare, because you and I both know, if we stop receiving our medications, hormones, we as a person will probably become very, very imbalanced, depressions, and we can't be ourselves. So if we put that, let's say, in a child, like, anyone under 19.
Yeah, it's truly distressing, and they're not just coming after the trans youth healthcare. They're coming for all trans healthcare, and that's been made clear by the American Principles Project. They've started with youth healthcare, because they can start saying mutilation and sterilization, and then they can say anybody who supports that is a groomer or a pedophile. So it's a way of targeting our community to number one, say we're groomers, mutilators, sterilizers, all of the classic signs of targeting a minority group that you want to exterminate and you want to get rid of. And so they're going to come after the trans health care for adults next. In Nebraska, the way the bill was originally written, it prohibited the surgeries, the blockers, and the cross-sex hormones and therapy, except for probably conversion therapy. That would probably be okay. What they did is when they got to the final vote, I don't think they had enough votes for it, and so they sent it back one level to add an amendment that dramatically changed how it was going to do it. They prohibited surgeries, but they left determination and regulation of the rest of the healthcare to the chief medical officer of the state, the doctor, and then they added a 12-week abortion ban. They had a 6-week abortion ban, that bill that had made it to the final round, but they couldn't end the filibuster on it, and so it died. And so in an effort to get this bill passed, they added a 12-week abortion ban to it. And so it ended up getting enough votes to go back up. And so, yes, they ended up, we lost by one vote. They had just enough votes to end the debate on it, and so it was able to be voted on and passed. And that leads us to where we're at now, which is we don't know what trans youth health care is going to look like in Nebraska until October. We actually don't even know if the children who are currently receiving care are grandfathered in and can continue to do it. There's a lot of confusion in relationship to it. Fortunately, the way they did the bill, which is adding two unrelated things, abortion and trans medical care are kind of really two separate issues.
Right.
And so the Nebraska Constitution requires that legislative bills be of a single subject.